that is on One Health approach for AMR. Today we have with us Rajeshwari and Amit Khurana from CSE's Sustainable Food System team. Thank you so much for joining. Amit, I'll start with you. My first question is, what do you mean by One Health?
Okay, so One Health basically means that the health of not just humans, but also animals, environment, within the animals, let's say the aquatic ecosystem, the terrestrial ecosystem, the health of even the plant kingdom, all those living organisms, let's say, in the earth, on the earth, the health of theirs is connected. It's one. By that, basically, it means that the health is interdependent. For example, if the health of animals is not right, not in the right frame, right shape, there's a high chance that it will ultimately impact the life of human beings. And that is something which we have been seeing in the case of pandemics. For example, viral pandemics of the early, 90s, 80s, H1N1 flu. So we know that the pandemics had some or the other way had origins in let's say the livestock breeding. From the livestock, it came to to humans. I think that's where the concept of One Health started to emerge. But it is important to note that this concept got a lot of traction during the COVID times, when there was much more attention on the animal, environmental, and human interface. That's where it was very clear that future pandemics have to have a One Health approach if they are to be contained, and that kind of preparedness therefore needs response from One Health stakeholders. Very quickly, if I may add, there's this lot of work happening on the global level. Even in the recent New Delhi G20 leaders declaration, it was very clear that the One Health is the way that the world wants to now address the pandemics. And now, since we are talking about the AMR Awareness Week, it is also important to note that AMR now, which was not really part of, not really addressed, planned to be addressed in that way, now is planned to be addressed through the One Health lens.
Rajeshwari, let me loop you in right now. So how is AMR and One Health connected?
Thanks, Sukanya. So, like Amit said, AMR is also, is also finding a place in this entire One Health concept. The issue of antimicrobial resistance is something which is, not just limited to human health. We have the animal health sector, the food production sector, the crop sector, all of it in some way or the other will, even the aquaculture sector, all of it will have the involvement of antibiotic use for treatment of bacterial infections, or for that matter, the growth promotion use of, in the case of poultry sector. So the use of antibiotics is there, and eventually when there is antibiotic use, there is some linkage to AMR as well. But just to answer your question, how it is linked, if I allow me to ask, use an example. For example, we have an intensive farm setting, for example, where we have many animals of the same breed which are being raised together. It could be a poultry or an aquaculture, and there, if there is a disease, for example, some infection which is spreading from one animal to the other. In order to stop that, obviously, we will need the use of antibiotics, and eventually it will have the linkage to the issue of antimicrobial resistance, because the gut bacteria or the bacteria in the environment continuously getting exposed to the antibiotics will develop the resistance. So and then the farmers who are exposed to it, the handlers, the farm washings, the farm excreta, the farm waste, all of it in some way or the other is also linking to the environment. So we have the human exposure, we have the animal exposure, we have the environment exposure. Similarly, can happen in case of crops when we are spraying antibiotics or any kind of similar product on the crops. More than that is consumed in the crops, it goes into the runoff. Another example could be, in case of pharmaceutical manufacturing, for example, if there is waste which is maybe not inadequately treated, and then there is a possibility that there is residual antibiotics that goes into the larger environment. So there are different linkages, and we can't say that one particular sector can address all of it. The issue of AMR, indeed, it has linkage to One Health, and all of it is interconnected. Even AMR is addressed as a One Health issue now, and under the overarching One Health efforts, the aim to address AMR is also coming forward.
Yeah. Amit, my final question to you is, what should be India's One Health plan to contain AMR?
Okay, so India has a national action plan on antimicrobial resistance. It was developed in 2017. It was a 5-year plan meant to be operational till 2021. Now, there was a parallel New Delhi declaration, which was actually which actually put a lot of emphasis on the fact that the response to AMR should be multi-sectoral, multi-stakeholder, but a lot of that has to come from states. Now, why so? Now, pollution control, animal husbandry, fisheries, and even health, all these are primarily handled in India or regulated in India or promoted in India through states. States have their own respective departments. We have animal husbandry department, we have Department of Fisheries, we have local state level pollution control boards. Now we have state level Department of Health, and they are the best judge. They know their local context. They know what is right, what is not happening in the right way, and where to regulate, and where are the loopholes, where are the gaps. For example, let's say we know a couple of states, for example, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, they are producing a lot of fish and a lot of dairy and a lot of poultry for India. A state like Himachal is doing a lot of apple, where in crops, apple orchards and citrus, a lot of antibiotic is used. A state like UP and Rajasthan has a lot of dairy. So keeping these sectoral strengths and keeping these sectoral populations in mind, how big or how small they are, it was very clear that states will have to decide, and they will have to come forward with their state action plans. And that's where we think would be the success of India's response to AMR. Now, what does a state typically needs to do? One, of course, is they need to create awareness first within their department officials, all the stakeholders, within their consumers, or let's say within the users of antibiotics. For example, farmers. For example, poultry farmers. For example, dairy farmers. For example, fish farmers. For example, pharmacists. For example, medical community, medical doctors. So the states have to basically come up with a coordinated response led by individual departments, co-owned, co-shared, collective response, collective accountability, no more apportioning of the blame, or no more denial of the issue, or no more saying, no, this is not my problem, this is your problem. That kind of approach now is something that will happen, that should happen at the state level. And the good part is that some states have really done well. They are coming forward with their state action plans. We now have already 4 states: Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Delhi, and Andhra Pradesh has also come up recently with their state action plan. There are some states where the state action plan is in advanced stages. Plan or no plan, the point here is that the response has to be multi-sectoral. It has to be One Health. The animal sector people should no longer be saying, no, we don't need to clean up our house. It's the problem of the crops. The crops people should not be saying, no, it's because of the antibiotic misuse in humans. And that's where we have to collectively own up this problem and handle the issue. And that's where I think the central premise of One Health is. The only thing here is to be remembered is that One Health is big. One Health also talks about pandemics. It also talks about zoonosis. Somewhere the issue of AMR has to be carefully made relevant in the entire bigger concept of One Health.
Okay. Any last comments?
I think I will end on the same note that Amit has ended, is that it's a multi-sectoral effort that needs to come into play. And I mean, apportioning of blame is definitely not something which we should go into. Rather, it's the intent of addressing a public health concern, like we handled COVID. And before it becomes too dangerous, I think it is important that we do not allow AMR to become COVID. And we act. We have some time. We can act.
Right.
That would be my
Thank you
question.
so much. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back soon with another live chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.